We begin our story with a quick look at the twins' childhood. They looked so alike that only their dad and grandma could tell them apart. Their mom was always busy with work, so they mostly spent time with their dad until he sadly passed away when they were young. As they grew up, the twins had different strengths. One was good at what others struggled with, so they often switched places to help each other out. But one day, their mom found out and got really angry. To stop them from swapping again, she cut the younger twins' hair short. Years later, the twins are now in high school. The older one, Yumi is great at studying, while the younger Yumiji is fast and uses her speed to get to lunch early. Noticing her talent, a PE teacher encouraged Miji to become a track star. She did well and won many medals until an injury ended her career. Now they are adults. Mirai has a steady office job in Seoul, while Miji does different small jobs to get by. Mirai seems unhappy in the city, and Miji is tired of people constantly comparing her to her sister. Their mom also clearly prefers Mirai and looks down on Miji. Then someone from the past shows up. Lee Husu. He transferred to their school back in the day and became Miji's classmate. Miji was outgoing, but Husu was quiet and kept to himself. At first, Miji thought he didn't like her, but later she learned he had been in a bad accident that left him with burns and limb and hearing problems. After learning this, Miji felt sorry and the two became friends. Miji may have liked Hosu back then, but never said anything. A rumor had spread that he and Mirai were dating, which may have stopped her from confessing. Even now, it seems she still has feelings for him, especially when he asks about Mirai instead of her. Husu says he saw Mirai recently, but she didn't look well. When he tried to talk to her, she ran away. He thought Miji might know something, but she said they haven't been close for a long time. Still, Husu tells her that Mirai trusts Miji the most and shows her true feelings only to her. So Miji visits Mirai to drop off food. Something feels wrong. Mirai talks about wanting to quit work or even hurt herself just to get a break. Miji only fully understanding how bad Miji not fully understanding how bad things are. Tells her to keep going like everyone else does. But later Miji realizes something's off and rushes back. Just in time to stop Mirai from jumping. They both fall, but luckily they only get minor injuries. We find out Mirai was being pulled at work after defending a co-worker who exposed their boss for bad behavior. That co-worker quit, and Mirai was left to face the consequences. She got demoted and exalted, while the boss barely got punished. Miji tells Mirai to quit or switch companies, but Mirai can't. She has debts and transferring jobs isn't easy. After an argument, Miji accepts her sister's decision and leaves. But then she runs back and says, let's switch places like before. Mirai agrees, but warns Miji to stay under the radar. Of course, that's not easy since their personalities are very different. Miji adds one rule: Mireille must visit their sick grandma, but Mireille avoids it, using work as an excuse. Meanwhile, Miji takes Mireille's place and starts working on a strawberry farm. The farm owner, Han Sejin, is serious about growing organic strawberries, but he doesn't give Mireille, who's actually Miji, anything to do, just pays her daily. She gets bored and eventually tries to clean the storage and throws out his old chair. This makes him furious. They argue. Miji says she's tired of people watching her without trusting her. Sejin tells her to do what she wants, but when she does, he gets upset. Fed up, Miji quits. Feeling lost, Miji visits their grandma, who sees through the discus right away. Her kind words make Miji cry. Encouraged, she leaves a plan for Sejin. Judging by his reaction, he might not be done with her yet. Back in Seoul, Mireille, who's actually Miji, finally gets a work task after 2 weeks. But it's a trap. She's sent to another branch as punishment. Her job to convince an old lady to sell her restaurant. But the woman just throws salt at her every time she comes. She can't tell Mireille about it either. She's supposed to stay quiet and not take action. Then she bumps into Hosu, who now works at a big law firm. She tries to act cold so he won't recognize her. In high school, he could always tell them apart, even with towels on their heads. He wants to meet, but Mireille avoids him. Something about their past makes the real Mireille scared. Later, we find out the whistleblowing case involved harassment. We don't yet know if Mireille was a victim or a witness. Husu was sent to cover it up by his boss. When he saw Mireille, she ran off. Now he feels guilty and wants to help. Miji, still pretending to be Mireille, lies and says she dropped the complaint because she's busy. She's cold to him even though he truly cares. She goes back to the restaurant, but this time she can't hold in her frustration. Why is this old lady being so mean? She's just doing her job. Later, he reveals his boss had an agenda and used him to silence Mireille. Now Husu wants to help. Just then, the old lady calls and agrees to talk. Miji is so happy that she lets her guard down, and Husu realizes she's not Mireille. We end on a cliffhanger as he finally figures out her secret. Husu already seems to like Miji, even without knowing who she really is. At least, Sejin doesn't know the twins, so he won't be confused. But Husu knows them for years. His heart could get caught in the middle. Miji needs someone who knows the truth and has her back. She's all alone in this new life. Maybe now with Husu support, they can help each other heal and grow and maybe finally fall in love. Pretend Mireille denies being Miji, just like we would expect. But again, she goes too far and says hurtful things to Husu. Upset, Husu walks away, and it doesn't seem like he would come back unless she makes the first move. Back in high school, Miji was the only person who could bring Husu out of his shell. She was the only one he truly opened up to. Mireille was focused on her grades, and their mom only paid attention to Mireille. Over time, Miji started like Husu, but nothing came of it. Once Miji asked Husu to watch her race, because she had something to tell him if she won. Most likely, she wanted to confess her feelings. But when she saw him with Mireille, she got distracted, injured her ankle, and ruined her chance. It might have looked like they were hugging, but Mireille probably fainted and Husu was just helping her. Because of that misunderstanding, Miji lost both her dream and her first love. Turns out Husu liked her too, but Miji got so upset. She accepted another guy's confession, though we're not sure if they dated. Before the accident, Miji was popular. Afterward, people avoided her, and she lost her confidence and spark. Later on, Granny Kim refuses to sell her property. The company won't back down, and the pressures pretend Mireille to get the job done. She even gets caught following Miss Kim, and fears she will be sued. She asks Husu for legal help, and he realizes Miss Kim is a famous poet who helps students from single parent families. Just like him, he always wanted to thank her but never had the chance. Pretend Mary tries to get on Miss Kim's good side by cleaning, but Miss Kim gets angry. It's not that she's hate Mary, she just hates the company sends young employees to do their dirty work. Now the company wants Pretend Mary to set up a meeting with Miss Kim by next week, but Miss Kim told her not to come back. Mary plans to stall, but then an annoying old classmate calls and drags her to a restaurant. There, Mary lies and says Miss Kim is her relative because she felt embarrassed about her job. The annoying classmate wants to use that connection to land a deal. Typical, she used to cling to Miji when Miji was doing well, then dropped her and tried to cozy up to Mireille. She even blames Miji for cutting her off. Mireille tries to get rid of her before Miss Kim sees them, but it's too late. Surprisingly, Miss Kim plays along and even agrees to visit the company to make things clear. Mireille is shocked, but maybe Miss Kim saw something honest in her. Meanwhile, Hosu is having trouble at work. His boss, Lee Chung-gu, gets mad when Hosu helps a poor victim who was beaten up by a rich chairman who didn't want to pay any settlement. Hosu had joined the company just to work under Mr. Lee, but now they are clashing. When Mr. Lee threatens to transfer him, Hosu decides to quit, torn between doing the right thing and keeping his job. Hosu stops by Miss Kim's restaurant to thank her, and who's there? Pretend Mireille. She's shocked to hear he quit. Hosu isn't used to having free time, so he starts job hunting right away. But no one will hire him, probably because Mr. Lee is blocking him. He vents to Mireille, saying he wants to join a big firm and prove himself, but he's scared he will fall even further. Mireille tells him his job doesn't define who he is. She encourages him to stop overthinking and just take a break. They go shopping for yarn, and Mireille teaches him to crochet. It helps him to relax and make some cleaning scrubs too. The real Mireille was never this comforting, so Husu gets confused. Why is his heart racing when he's around Mireille? He only ever saw Mireille as a friend, so what's going on? At the same time, Mireille gets jealous when the annoying classmate invites Husu to a reunion, but not her. She grabs the phone and says she's coming too. At the reunion, the other classmates gossip about Miji, not knowing where Miji is listening. Husu stands up for her, scolding them. On the way home, he seems upset, claiming Mireille didn't defend her sister, but he's really just jealous of the guy who tried flirting with her. Elsewhere, pretend Miji and Sejin finally team up after a rough start. He apologizes and thanks her, calling her a partner, even though she's been gone for years. She still knows a lot about farming. Her determination balances out his eccentric side. After they harvest what's left and plant new crops, Sejin gives her strawberries to share with her sister. But Miji says Mireille doesn't have friends. She only thinks about herself. Flashbacks show how the twins ended up this way. After Miji quit sports, rumors at school got to her. She became depressed and didn't leave her room. Mireille had to cut her hair and pretend to be Miji so she could graduate. Miji stayed in that dark place for 3 years. People kept asking where she was. Their mom finally snapped and yelled at Miji, but Miji reminded her that she never cared until Miji got into sports. Miji had always wanted her mom's attention, but only Grandma was there for her. Grandma's story helped Miji start healing. Then, sadly, Grandma had a stroke. Miji was alone and couldn't get help in time. She's blamed herself ever since. Back in the present, the twins argue. Mireille asks Meiji to cut Grandma's hair, but Meiji says she's busy with work. The roles has flipped. They are now saying the same hurtful lines they once heard from each other. Later, Mireille prepares for her meeting but can't reach Miss Kim. Worried, she visits and finds Miss Kim hurt with a sprained back. It brings back painful memories of finding Grandma and consequences. Luckily, Husu, now acting as Miss Kim's legal advisor, shows up and helps her to get to the hospital, and he calms Mireille down. Husu contacts the company and reschedules the meeting, so work is back on track. But Mireille keeps thinking about the past and blames herself for Grandma's condition. Husu reminds her of his own accident and says no one was at fault. Mireille asks why he keeps defending Ryumiji and is shocked when he says he likes her. She's his first love, and Mireille knows it. Hosu tells Miji that she was his first love, which surprises her. She started overthinking and even wonders if Hosu is saying this just to make the real Mireille jealous. You see, Miji thought Hosu liked Mireille ever since she saw them hugging on the contest day. Still unsure about his feelings, Husu visits the village to see Miji and figure things out. But the person he meets doesn't feel like the Miji he knew back in high school, or even the one he met last time. This just leaves him more confused. At least the misunderstanding about the contest day is cleared up. Husu wasn't into Mirai. She fainted from being sick, and he took her to the hospital. Mirai asked him not to tell anyone because she didn't want her family to stop her from taking the CSAT exam. That's why Hosu didn't explain when Miji got mad at the next day. And after the exam, Miji locked herself in her room and refused to see anyone. Now that she knows the truth, the real Miji feels regret. If only she had faced things instead of running away, she lost her love, her life, and her dream, just because of a misunderstanding. Running away seems to be something both twins do. Now, there's a rumor that pretend Miji likes Sejin. Feeling awkward, she suddenly quits without telling him anything. Sejin won't let it go and pushes her to tell him the truth. To his credit, Sejin tries to convince her to stay. Why leave because of silly gossip? But she's already made up her mind. So Sejin gives up. He doesn't want someone who walks away just because of a baseless rumors. It seems the real Mireille also faced rumors like this at work, which is probably why she reacted so strongly about the ones involving her and Sejin. But we don't know the full story yet. Meanwhile, Husu attends a meeting with company reps. He makes sure they stop bothering pretend Mireille. If they want to talk to Miss Kim, they need to go through him. He also demanded that only the person in charge, not some junior worker, contact him, especially since that higher up had taken credit for Mireille's work. Pretend Mireille gets asked to write a project report last minute. She has no idea how to do it. Thankfully, a kind coworker helps her. He says he owns her, or rather the real Mireille, but Mireille doesn't remember him. She works day and night on the report, hoping to get praised. Instead, her team leader yells at her and takes the report. She feels crushed. Little though, the team leader embarrasses himself during the presentation because he didn't even understand the report. That's when Pretend Miri finally gets the credit she deserves. That night she gets drunk and ends up at Husu's place. She asks him when he started liking her, or Miji. Husu tells her it was during a high school hiking trip. He wasn't supposed to hike for health reasons, but he still wanted to. Miji offered to help, but he refused and went alone. On his ways up, all the other students were coming down, but not Miji. She had waited for him. That moment made him started to like her. In the present, pretend Mireille, who's actually Miji, confesses her feelings too. But Husu thinks she's Mireille. She hugs him and demands an answer. He tries to pull back, then she blacks out and wakes up at his place. Unsure of what happened, Husu teases her but doesn't explain. Meanwhile, a classmate named Ji-yoon has a crush on Husu. She's jealous of Mireille, thinking she always gets what she wants. When Ji-yoon says she's calling dibs on Husu, Miji backs off instead of asking Hosu how he feels. Things get more complicated with Miss Kim case. When Mr. Lee finds out Hosu is representing Miss Kim, he takes over the case himself to go after Hosu. He acts friendly with pretend Mirai, but he's clearly setting her up. While reading some documents, pretend Mirai realizes Miss Kim could lose out if she sells her restaurant. She accidentally tells Husu, who warns her not to say anything to Miss Kim. If she does, the company might blame her and sue her. Good news, Husu already knows about the twin switch. He had doubts, but after the night Miji, as Mirai, stayed at his place, he was sure. He's been waiting for her to tell him the truth. Ji-yoon also figured it out, but is being sneaky instead of just saying so.
Back in high school, Niji got a fake love confession as part of a cruel prank. Husu tried to stop it, but couldn't. He later confronted the guy behind it until the truth came out. When Niji finds out Husu always knew the truth but never said anything, she's shocked. If he liked her and knew she was single, why didn't he say anything? But Husu has always been the type to respect others' secrets, though that sometimes left him misunderstood. Niji wants to tell him about the twin switch now, but Husu gently asks her to wait until she's ready. At the same time, Mireille finds out about the fake relationship from the guy himself. She's surprised and heard that neither Miji nor Husu ever told her the truth. The guy had found out about the twin swap and decided to come clean. After that, a flood hits Sijin's farm. He's overwhelmed, but pretend Miji, the real Mirai, shows up to help, even she's unsure what to do. At least Sijin isn't alone. He even confesses that he liked the rumor about them being a couple, which leaves her speechless. Originally, Mirai planned to end the Queen Switch and quit her job next week, but maybe now she will stay in the village a little longer. When she was a child, the real When she was a child, the real Mirai was often sick. She spent a lot of time in hospitals, taking medicine and injections. It was painful, but she never cried or complained. Instead, she held her feelings, not just about the pain, parts of life, but in other parts of her life too. Now, in the present, Mirai, who's pretending to be Miji, meets Sijin. He's a well-known person in finance, a field Mirai is very interested in. She even wrote a paper on fund management. Sijin asks if she wants to work in finance. Mirai says she can't. Her family gave up a lot for her, so she feels she has to take care of them. But Sijin thinks she's just using that as an excuse. Sijin understands her well. He also once claimed he didn't want to study abroad, saying he had to repay his grandfather. but in truth he was scared he would fail, just like Mireille, who feels pressure from everyone expecting her to succeed. Meanwhile, Husu goes to one last meeting and tells Mr. Lee that Miss Kim won't sell her restaurant. Mr. Lee mocks Husu, calling him weak and passive. Angry Husu goes to see Mireille in the village and tells her he knows about the switch. Mireille snaps at him, but they are interrupted. Both their mothers had an accident and were taken to the hospital after a fight and fall. Mireille uses the accident as a reason to call the real Miji back to the village. She wants to end the switch and go back to Seoul. Miji worries that Husu might notice something, but Mireille says he already knows the truth. Miji is embarrassed. That morning she had bragged to Hosu about helping him get together with Miji, knowing he had figured it all out. From now on, let's call the twins by their real names. Later, Mireille thanks Sijin. He realizes she's saying goodbye and even calls her by her real name, Mireille, instead of the random names he used before. Maybe Sijin knew about the switch all along, perhaps after seeing the twins together. Mireille wonders why Sijin gave up his successful career. She remembers strange rumors but never believed them. He tells her the truth. One day, while in an important meeting, he missed a call from his grandfather. It was his grandfather's last call. He had collapsed and died from heart stroke. That news shattered Sijin and he couldn't go back to his old life. He stayed on the farm ever since. Mireille later apologizes to Hosu for snapping at him. He offers to help her or even connect her with another lawyer, but Mireille says she needs time to figure things out. She asks Miji for a few more days before they switch back. Mireille opens up. She never thought of quitting her job, even when things got tough. Everyone saw her as someone special, but she always felt average. To make things worse, their mother is against Mireille quitting her job, saying one unemployed daughter is bad enough. That hits Mireille hard. Thankfully, their grandmother supports her and tells her one night, while stargazing, Sijin tells Mireille to take her time and figure out what she really wants while helping him watch strawberries grow. Mireille seems tempted, but then hears a rumor that Sijin might go abroad, and she pulls back. Feelings are growing between them, but they need to talk honestly if they want something real. In a sweet moment, Hosu finally confesses his feelings to Miji. He waited so long for the right time, but realized it might never come. He remembers waiting outside Miji's house the day before he left for college, but couldn't speak. Now he tells her he likes her, and she feels the same. Their new relationship is cute and awkward. Miji wonders if they are a couple now. When she leaves for Seoul, Hosu shakes her hand instead of hugging her, leaving her a little disappointed. Their first date also doesn't go well. Hosu gets upset when Miji lies about her job at his old coworker. Later, they talk it out. Miji admits she lied because she felt ashamed. Everyone in the village knows she doesn't have a job. Hosu also confesses he wasn't feeling well that day, but didn't want to worry her. They make up and share a sweet hug. They may not be perfect, but they balance each other out. We also learn more about Hosu's family. His stepmother isn't his real mom. At first, he didn't expect her and wanted to keep it a secret. At first, he didn't accept her and wanted to keep it a secret. On the day of his real mother's death anniversary, Husu and his dad got into a car accident. Only Husu survived. Many people told his stepmother not to raise Husu because they weren't blood related. But she didn't listen. She cut ties with her own family just to raise him. She always felt like an outsider and didn't want Husu to feel that way too. Sadly, Husu misunderstood her love. He thought she was pretending to care and saw himself as a burden. So he started to push her away, not knowing he was breaking her heart. Later, the man involved in Mirai's harassment case shows up, and shockingly, he looks just like the twins' late father. We are not sure what exactly happened between him and Mirai, but it seems he used his familiar face to gain her trust, then betrayed her. People even spread rumors of an affair, but that's clearly false. Now he pretends to be helpful and takes over the project Mirai was working on. He convinces Mirai to step back, then tells higher ups that Mirai had a twin after noticing her strange behavior. They ask her to scan her fingerprint, access some files, maybe to confirm who she really is. Mirai scans her fingerprint and it confirms she is who she says she is. Let's go back a bit. Mirai returns to Seoul and says she's done with the identity swap, but she doesn't plan on quitting her job. Even though Miji tries to talk her out of it, Mirai decides to keep working at the company. Eventually, Miji gives up trying to stop her. Before leaving, Miji spends some time with Husu. He wants her to stay and figure things out with him. But Miji feels like she doesn't belong there anymore. So she goes back and starts working at Sejin's farm, pretending to be Mirai. Sejin already knows about this web, but instead of being angry, he just misses Mirai. By the way, Sejin got a great job offer in the US, but he hasn't made a decision yet because he wants to talk to Mirai first. We then learn what really happened at the company. after returning from maternity leave. The man involved in the past sexual harassment case pretended to be kind and supportive toward Mireille. He got close to her and comforted her when people ignored her for defending another colleague. One night, while drunk, he called Mireille saying he jailed her by mistake. Mireille offered to drive him home. On the way, he tried to kiss her, claiming he thought she liked him too. He begged for forgiveness, and Mireille, wanting to avoid more drama, agreed to let it go. But then he twisted the story, making it seem like Mireille tried to seduce him, even though he was a married man. Rumors spread that Mireille was trying to ruin his marriage. His wife even slapped her in the company lobby. Mireille was punished with a warning, even though she was the victim. She couldn't prove the harassment and began to wonder if she had somehow done something wrong. Later, an anonymous post exposing shady stuff at the company goes viral. Everyone thinks Mireille posted it, but the real person behind it is a young man who once helped Miji. He's also the younger brother of one of Mireille's co-workers. He joined the company to collect proof and now gives everything to Mireille, leaving it up to her to decide what to do next. When Mireille gets home, she finds the same man waiting for her. He pretended he pretends to care and tells her to move to another branch for a while, saying he will bring her back later. But Mireille's had enough. When he realizes she's recording him, he becomes aggressive and threatens her. Luckily, Miji shows up and beats him up. Mireille even keeps watch and tells Miji to hit harder since no one else is coming to stop them. At the police station, the man refuses to settle, but then Husu brings up the old harassment case. Mireille finds the strength to press charges for harassment and defamation. This time she's not running away, she's ready to face everything and eventually expose the truth about the company. On a lighter note, Sijin visits Seoul looking for Mireille. He finally finds her after days of searching. They hang out and Sijin takes her to visit his friends, who left their stressful office jobs and started their own business. Their journeys weren't easy, but he wants Mireille to know she doesn't have to stay in a toxic job either. At the observatory, Sejin tells Mireille he plans to go to the US and asks what she wants to do. She says she still has things to take care of. He offers her a job and asks her to go with him, but we don't hear her answer. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee starts putting pressure on Miss Kim, hinting that he knows she's not who she claims to be. When she doesn't give in, he publishes an article accusing her of living under a fake identity. Before this, he tried to make her suspicious of Husu and Miji, but they kept reaching out and finally convinced her to share her story. We find out Miss Kim's real name is Hyun Sang Woo. She met the real Kim Rusa at an orphanage when they were kids and became best friends. Rusa was very smart, while Sang-woo struggled to even read her own name, but they were close. When Rusa got into college, Sang-woo felt left behind and disappeared.
Years later, they met again. Rusa was married and had a baby, but her husband was abusive. The baby had mental health issues. Sang-woo helped Rusa escape, but the husband found them again and attacked Rusa. When he tried to shock Sang-woo, Rusa hit him to protect her. Sang-woo took the blame and went to prison. After serving her sentence, Sang-woo lived with Rusa and her child. They had very little money, and no one wanted to hire Sang-woo because of her criminal record. They moved to Seoul and used Rusa's name for official papers. Life was hard, but they managed to buy a small house and open a restaurant. Then Rusa got cancer, and it was too late to treat it. Before dying, Rusa asked Sang-woo to live as her and take care of her son. So her greedy in-laws wouldn't steal everything and abandon him. Sang-woo agreed, even though she was scared. But Mr. Lee twisted the story, making it look like Sang-woo stole her friend's identity and money. Luckily, Mr. Lee doesn't win. Rusa had already given her assets to Sang-woo. The building was bought with Sang-woo's money, but it was under Rusa's name because Sang-woo couldn't use her real one. Scholarship funds were real too, with money from both Rusa and Sang-woo. With these documents and support from students, Sang-woo gets a suspended sentence and no charges. To celebrate, Husu goes to buy a cake, but instead of a party, something seems wrong. While on the phone with Miji, he can't hear anything. Earlier, Miji asked what he would do if he lost his job as a lawyer. Maybe that was a hint. Husu had been fine until he argued with Mr. Lee. Then, starting hearing ringing in his ears. Now it's worse. We don't know yet. Was this just temporary or it is something serious from his past accidents? Husu gets treated, but only a small part of his hearing come back. No one knows if it will stay that way or get worse. He's scared and starts avoiding people so they don't find out. He hands over Mirai's case to Mr. Lee and asks him to make sure she gets justice. Then he sends Miss Sangwoo to a different lawyer. After a little push, he finally tells her about his hearing. She encourages him to talk to Miji about it, but Husu is afraid he will become a burden to her, even though he knows she would accept him no matter what. Feeling insecure, Husu tries to break up with Miji, saying their personalities don't match. But Miji doesn't buy that excuse. So he finally tells her the truth about his hearing loss. Miji doesn't want to let him go, but Husu says he doesn't want to watch her sacrifice her happiness for him. Deep down, he knows he's being childish and making a mistake. It's almost like the night before, Husu left for college. But this time, the rules are reversed. Back then, Miji pushed him away after getting hurt. Now, he's the one walking away. Miji understands why he's doing it, but she wishes he would change his mind. She remembers how others helped her get back on her feet, and now she wants to do the same for Husu. When no one can reach Husu, the hospital contacts his mom. She is shocked to hear about his condition and rushes to Seoul. They finally have a real, honest talk. No holding back. Husu always thought his mom felt stuck with him, but she tells him he gave her strangers after his dad died. They hug, and for the first time, they truly feel like a family. Husu gathers his courage and goes to see Miji, right when she's also on her way to find him. He realizes being alone to avoid being a burden was actually selfish. He wants to face the hard time together. So they get back together, ready to support each other. Meanwhile, Mireille, with Sijin's help, exposes the company's corruption and then quits. Seeing the bad people get punished is satisfying, but waiting around for it all to unfold was just too much. The guy behind it all quits and gets a suspended sentence. Lee won't let that be the end. He will keep fighting until justice is fully served. Other higher ups are punished too. One gets fired, another demoted and sent away. Back in her village, Mireille visits Sijin, who's waiting to hear if she will accept his job offer. It sounds like a dream, but Mireille worries it will feel like everything she does there is because of Sijin. Moving to the US seems like the obvious choice, but she decided to follow her own path. For now, she will take care of the farm, start a finance blog, and work on things that matter to her. Sijin is sad but supports her decision. She sees him off at the airport with a heartful hug. He even asked if it was okay first, which was really sweet. Sadly, their grandmother has a heart attack and passes away at home. After that, a lot of things begin again. Miji studies hard for the college entrance exam and passes on her third try. Mireille learns to farm and stays in touch with Sijin, who eagerly read her blog. Husu starts using a hearing aid and learns sign language. A year later, Miji is studying psychology to become a therapist. She works part-time for Miss Sangwoo. She and Hosu and Miss Sangwoo have become a little found family. Hosu still practices law and uses sign language with clients who need it, or with Miji, so their moms won't hear. They plan to live together but haven't told their moms yet. Hosu is also waiting patiently for Miji to figure out her future before they get married. Mireille keeps running the farm and now grows sweet strawberries to sell. Sijin returns to Korea and finds her quickly this time. Their relationship has always been quiet and steady, but their smiles say it all. And just like that, the story wraps up. The drama stays true to its message and leaves room for what comes next. It doesn't give a perfect fairy tale ending, but a hopeful new beginning. Life will keep throwing surprises. But now, these characters are stronger and not alone anymore. Life isn't about finding the perfect ending, it's about starting new chapters. And even if we hit a blank page, it's not the end, it's a chance to begin again. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.